Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome to Durrett's Takes. Let's get started. Now that we've gone through another week in the NFL season, I want to go ahead and give my top 10 teams as of right now. So let's get started. Number one will obviously be the only undefeated team in the league, and Pittsburgh is 6-0. They beat the Titans, which is a good win. And I was kind of waiting for this moment because they beat Cleveland's a decent team, and then they beat another decent team. And most of their other games were against bad teams, so I was waiting for that very good team, which they played Tennessee at Tennessee, and they won. They should have won by more, but that's not the here or there. But Pittsburgh has shown their defense dominant, stopped Derrick Henry, and they're a big fan. As long as he doesn't throw interceptions, he's has plenty of weapons to throw it to, and for the most part, it's a pretty good job. So I just like what I'm seeing from Pittsburgh. It wouldn't surprise me if they go undefeated in the regular season, but I don't see them winning Baltimore. So I feel like they would have to split at least one of those. But so Pittsburgh's number one. Two, Kansas City. They've been showing the past few weeks how to win differently, but and since they're showing you multiple different ways to win, that just shows you how good of a team they are. And once Pittsburgh loses, if Pittsburgh can have the same record, they'll move Kansas City up to one. By the way. Third is Tennessee. I mean, obviously a close loss against Pittsburgh doesn't knock you down that much. They're still a very good team. They're still going to win their division, in my opinion. I like what I'm seeing from them, and I think they're going to be good going forward. Four, Baltimore. Now, if you make Baltimore one-dimensional, for example, like the Patriots, you stop the run and you just make them throw, then I do get worried about Baltimore. But other than that, I feel like they're good and they'll be just fine. And now Baltimore and Pittsburgh play each other, so that's going to be the very interesting one. See who prevails on that. But I like what I see for them. 5 is the first two-loss team on here, Tampa Bay. I'm liking what I'm seeing for them. They destroyed the Packers, who are a good team, and the Las Vegas, who is a decent team. They destroyed as well. Well, at least offensively, they destroyed. And Vegas, so that's a good win. So, and Tampa Bay's schedule is for the most part, pretty easy. So I expect them to do good things going forward now. 6 is Green Bay at 5-1. They bounced back against a bad Houston team, but they took care of business one there. So I feel like, again, for the most part, the rest of the league, they're going to do fine. It's just those physical teams I worry about. 7, I got Arizona because they beat Seattle. I mean, their 2 losses. Carolina, it looks right now, is a pretty good loss. And then their other loss was against Detroit, which I know seemed like a great loss, but right now Detroit's mediocre 3-3, so it's not the worst loss. It wasn't like they lost to the Jets or something like that. So Arizona is going to be hot and cold because they're still young. Kyle Murray's still rebuilding, but they're good. 8 is Seattle. Again, Russell you can make a case they should have won the game, but their defense will cost them at some times in the game. I feel like overall they're good enough to be a top 10 team for the rest of the season. We'll see. 9 is New Orleans. Now their defense, like Seattle, their defense is atrocious. Well, specifically the secondary is atrocious. But the offense, as long as they do their part, they typically have a very good chance of winning games like they showed against Carolina. So I'll put this in the top 10 team for now until they lose another game. And then 10, this was hard to pick, but I'm going to go with the LA Rams. Even though the 49ers, who are 4-3, and beat the LA Rams head-to-head, which I usually honor head-to-head, just after the Rams showed their dominance against a good Bears team last night. And the fact that 49ers kind of need a little more wins, a couple more wins and stuff, because the Patriots don't look like a good win right now. Then I'll put the 49ers in my top 10. For now, I got the Rams there. So that's my top 10. I got Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Tennessee, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Arizona, Seattle, New Orleans, and LA Rams. Okay, so now it's been 2 weeks, I'm going to go ahead and go over my updated NFL projections. So let's get started. So in the AFC East, I'm going to have Buffalo still win a division, but instead of 11-5, I changed it to 2. At first, I always thought they were going to be 9-7, winning the division, but then a couple weeks ago, I was on that bandwagon, so I bumped it up to 11-5, and now, after seeing what I've seen from them recently, I put it back at 9-7. So I feel like their defense is not that good, but yet their offense can win at least the bad teams. So because they already have the head start at 5-2, it's like you just gotta beat Miami one more time, or beat New England at least once, and then beat like a lowly other team at some point, like a Jacksonville or Denver at some point, they'll be just fine to at least win the division. Second, I got Miami at 8-8, so I bumped them up a win. Now, if Tua plays horribly, then I'll bump them back down, but if he could play just fine, then I like the direction Miami's going. And Miami can win in the division. Like, if it comes down to one game, Buffalo and Miami play each other in Buffalo for the last game of the season. So that right there could very be for the division winner game on the line. So I got Miami there. New England is 7-9, and that's best case scenario. Like I said yesterday, I just feel like they're not going to do well with a hard schedule. Like Cam's playing. I thought they're finally going to miss the playoffs, which I was right about all along. I'm mad that I got on the hype and changed it a couple weeks ago, but now I'm back on my original prediction. They're not making the playoffs. And then Jets, I'm still sticking with 0-16. The NFC North, Pittsburgh, I got 15-1. I thought they're going to split Baltimore, but the rest of their games, I thought they were going to win. Tennessee was one of the few hard games left, which they won. They might play Indianapolis, which might be tough with Indy's defensive stuff, but other than that, I feel like they got a pretty schedule going forward, and I feel like they should win. So I got Pittsburgh 15-1, which means they would have the overall number 1 seed. Next is Baltimore at 13-3. I know that sucks to be 13-3 and be a wild card, but hey, that's how good the other teams are. Well, that's how good Pittsburgh is specifically. So Baltimore is at 13-3. I feel like they're pretty good. Now playoffs, we'll see what happens, but I feel like they're just going to cruise through the regular season like they usually do. Cleveland, I got at 9-7. Now the OBJ entry is significant, but in some ways not that significant at the same time, just because OBJ wasn't targeted a lot. He didn't have a lot of great games, and now Baker Mayfield doesn't have to worry about giving him the ball. He can just focus on distributing, like a Jarvis Landry, Joku, just kind of distribute to others, which that's what he's actually best at. So I feel like Cleveland, with somewhat of a schedule going forward, I feel like they can get 9-7, above 500. Then Cincinnati at 3-12-1. Again, great offensively, bad defensively. South Tennessee, I got it at 12-4. I feel like there's a few hiccups made within the division, like losing against Indianapolis once, or Houston gets revenge, something like that. But other than that, I like where Tennessee's going forward. I feel like they win a bunch of games. Indianapolis, I have it 9-7. That they're in the wild card hunt for sure. I'm not sure if they're gonna get in or not, but they have a chance. It all depends on what Cleveland does, because Cleveland has the tiebreaker there. But I feel like the defense will carry this team to the playoff, not the offense. Philip Rivers. Then I got Houston at 4-12. They'll win a few more games because they have to play Jacksonville again and stuff like that, and Cincinnati and Detroit and stuff like that, and Deshaun Watson's. And they still have Deshaun Watson, but I just feel like they're not going to go anywhere at this point. Jacksonville, I don't have to win any more games, so just 1-15 still I have for them. And the other West side, Kansas City at 13-3. So they have to play the Saints in the Bucks. So I feel like there will be like a few more tests coming up for Kansas City, and they might lose one of those. And then the next I got Las Vegas at 9-7. Again, even though they're 3-3 right now, or is it 3-4? Whatever. I like what I'm seeing from them on offense. I feel like their offense can carry them, at least during the regular season, to win some games. LA Chargers, I actually got an 8-8. I know right now they're only 2-4, but I feel like their schedule lightens up a little, and I feel like Herbert and the way he's progressing, I feel like the Chargers can make things. Now, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but 8 is respectable enough and sets them on a good path for next year. In Denver, I have 5-11. I bumped them up for 2-14 to 5-11. Just Locke still needs to prove that they still have many injury problems and stuff like that, so that's why they can't win more games than they normally would. So now, it's in the AFC, you got 1 Pittsburgh, 2 Kansas City, 3 Tennessee, 4 Buffalo, 5 Baltimore, 6 Las Vegas, and 7 Cleveland. And then Indianapolis, the first team out, and then Miami and Chargers would be falling out, and the rest shouldn't even come close. Okay, so now you get the NFC. And the NFC East, this may surprise you, but obviously after the Cowboys lost yesterday, I've given up on them. I feel like Washington, is actually going to win the division. The no-name Washingtons, with a 6-10 record. Hear me out. The reason why Washington has a very good defensive front. We all know the Eagles' offensive line is injured prone and struggling. Washington already beat them early in the season with that defensive good game plan and Dwayne Haskins to start. This won't be Dwayne Haskins this time. So in Philly, if Washington can get that one again, then they win the tiebreaker there, which would be key. And I feel like Washington will get revenge against the Giants and win the next game when they play in Washington. And I feel like Washington will beat Dallas again. So right now they're at 2 wins. So that's 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 right there. And then they can find some other game to win. I think they play, whether it's Detroit or Cincinnati, they'll win at least one of those 2 games to get to 6-10. So I feel like, and then Philadelphia, I feel like they're better than Washington even with injuries, but the problem is with just a hard schedule. It's like, yeah, you beat Dallas twice, so you get to 5. But I feel like they'll slip up against the Giants at Giants. And then, like I said, if they lose to Washington, then I feel like they'll lose the rest of their outside division games. So that's why I got Washington winning it. Now, again, Philadelphia could easily win it, but I'm going to take Washington right now for the upset. And then Giants and Dallas, I both have tied at 3-13. Dallas could easily lose the rest of games, be 2-14, but right now I have 3-13 for both of them. NFC North, Green Bay at 13-3 again. They're going to steamroll most of their opponents except for a few. Chicago, I have an 11-5. It's one of those things where it's 11-5 looks pretty good, but it's more of a soft 11-5. It's like you beat the good teams, you beat the good teams and mediocre teams, but against great teams, you're just going to struggle. The problem with Chicago is even with Nick Foles, like they just don't have anything on offense, and it's hard for defense to ask them to win the game every single time, so they will losing it at least a few more times. Minnesota 4-12, they're done. Detroit 4-12 as well, they're done. I know right now they're 3-3, but I feel like they're not going to go anywhere. South, Tampa Bay, I actually have them winning the rest of their games to go 14-2. Just because I'm like, their schedule lightens up, so you got New Orleans again and Chiefs better than that. They have a very easy schedule. Like what I see from them. New Orleans 11-5. They can win a lot of their games, but their defense will cost them for winning the division. Carolina at 9-7, again one of those sneaky teams. They could be they're in the playoff hunt. And then Arizona 2-14. So they might win one more game, get lucky with like starters sitting down the last week or something. But they're not going to go anywhere. And in the West, I got Seattle 3-13. Then I feel like they'll be just fine. Winning division still, despite the loss yesterday. San Francisco, I have next at 10-6. That's right. I feel like I feel like they're in the wild card as well. I feel like they're gonna improve and be better despite their injuries. And then Arizona, I have at 9-7. I feel like again it's gonna be up and down depending on the week. But I feel like they're good enough to be in the playoffs. And then LA Rams, I also have at 9-7. So again, so the worst team in that division goes to 9-7. That just shows how good a division is. So in the review, I got 1 seed Tampa Bay, 2 seed Seattle, 3rd seed Green Bay, 4 seed Washington, and 5 seed New Orleans, 6 seed Chicago, and 7 seed San Francisco. So a bunch of good 9-7 teams like Carolina, Arizona, I think all missed the playoffs. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if one of those 3 make the playoffs, but that's what I'm looking at right now. So in my next podcast, I'll probably do Thursday or Friday. I would go over my playoff prediction scenarios for this, and then I'll also go over my NFL picks for this coming up week and my college football picks for this upcoming week. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, tell everyone about me. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.